You're listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Wow, zero. We got to figure out a way to fade that in. It just starts just cuts. But what's up, everyone? Paul Apostolakis. We have Brad Weisgerber. We have Salvatore Kuzmano. We are the trio of Inside Real Estate. Boys, how is quarantine treating you?
Good. It's driving me mad, dude.
Why?
I want to go out into the world.
So go, bro. Whose background is that? That's weird.
I don't know. It's quite loud.
I know. Someone turn off their fucking their thing. So today we have a really, really special guest. Kyle Desmond reached out to me after one of the last podcasts and was like, "Hey man, good show, whatever." So we just started talking. I'm like, "Hey man, let's get on and let's talk shop, right?" So he's on today, Mr. Kyle Desmond from Hall Hunter. How are you, sir?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Good, man. We really appreciate you taking some time to spend with us. I want to start the show by saying, who does this look like?
That gives it.
Look at this. It's Friar Tuck, dude. What's up, Friar Tuck? Mr. Brad Weisgerber. No haircut. You need. Yeah, and let's not.
That was pretty rude.
Yeah, I know. Let's not.
He's an asshole.
It was his birthday yesterday. Let's not miss an opportunity to talk about Mr. Kyle Desmond's amazing mustache. Walk me through the mentality that it takes to be a man that's that committed to his mustache.
You know what? I had to do something during this time, and I usually, in the winter I'll grow a beard and then leave the stash for a little bit. This is my quarantine headshot right here, man. That's what I'm gonna do. So
yeah, I asked him yesterday for a better headshot because the last one looked like he was a little cross-eyed.
It's just it's my quarantine stash, man. That's what I tell
her. Yeah.
She hates it. It's awesome.
The wife hates it. Could you imagine him getting kissed by you, dude?
It doesn't happen.
Like a furry caterpillar just flowing all over your face, dude.
It takes out life.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So I would love to see more of our guests look as amazing as you do right now. But today I really want to talk. Kyle is a great agent. We had a good conversation a couple of days ago or yesterday, and he was just like, man, it's like go time. Like he's moving, he's doing things, he's thinking of ways to be more efficient, how to basically evolve into the new world we're in. So a lot of people right now, agents especially, are like, well, what can I do right now? Right. So I really wanted to bring in Kyle to really talk to the group and kind of talk to us about what he's doing during the quarantine to basically, move his needle. Right. Because you're either moving your needle forward or it's going backwards. It doesn't just stay stagnant. If you don't do anything, you're losing ground every day. So Kyle, talk to the audience right now about kind of your mentality. And by the way, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the market, what you see coming on in the future. And I want to talk about the mortgage side of it a little bit. But first, let's just start from your perspective. What are you doing right now to be able to, inch that needle forward? We might not be seeing big gains or whatever, maybe, but, talk to us about your steps you're taking right now.
Well, yeah, it was interesting because I was in Florida the beginning of March.
Right.
March 10th. And by March 13th, it was, whoa, okay, we're in trouble here. What's going on? And all of a sudden everything came to a halt. I kind of had some good momentum going from the start of the year.
Hey, Kyle, can you pull your camera down a little bit so you're higher in the frame? There we go. That's better. Yeah, there we go. No, it's all right, dude.
And I get my whole background here. It's my little.
What is that? Is that the Fighting Irish back there?
Fighting Irish and Sparty. I got them both.
Wow, you must love Michigan.
yeah, they're my favorite.
Yeah, all right, go ahead. Sorry.
So it was you kind of adapted on the fly. You almost went from, all of us, you guys included, normal to okay, now what do we do? So
right.
What I've been trying to do is just kind of talk to my clients. I do have listings that are out there right now. It's a kind of a time where you got to do what you can, and that includes virtual showings, try and get some sort of video out there, a little more detail in your listings, communication with other agents, trying to figure out the best way to either get some interest in a house or even maybe even get an offer. But really for me, it's just been just trying to keep everybody calm in terms of people, my clients who have listings, and my buyers who, buyers are probably the most interesting to deal with right now, because, half of them think, oh man, like, we're going to be able to get a great deal. The other half's like, I might not be able to get a mortgage. So, you just keep people calm. And what I've been trying to do is to kind of be that soundboard. Anything for real estate my clients ask, I'll be there. Hunter's been doing a great job. We have a bunch of Zoom meetings, a lot of different parts of the industry, which is nice. And really, you just kind of, in this world, thank God, in this world of, Facebook and, social media and everything online and iPhones and all this stuff, we can still kind of run our business. It's just a lot different than it was 2 months ago.
Yeah, Sal, you can talk about this because you're seeing it on your end. I mean, there's a lot of people right now that kind of think like, I'm going to hold out and get a deal. And we talk about this all the time. Like, if you need to buy a house, you need to buy a house. But ultimately, Sal, do you think there's going to be deals to be had? Or do you think that the good houses are still going to move quickly, in your opinion, Sal?
I mean, it's possible. It's possible that the market could take a little bit of a dip to a degree, but ultimately, to what degree? Right. Like, what are you going to say? 5-10 grand on a house? I mean, it fluctuates that much monthly. Right. So to me, if you got to buy a house or you want to buy a house. Rates are good. Rates are cheap. Right. You're still in a better position than you would be renting. Now, if it's something that you might not have to do, I mean, look at everything going on. Right. Like, I think a lot of the slowdown potentially that could happen is from people getting absolutely whacked in their investments, right? But people who have equity in their home still have equity in their home and should think about making a good move should they want to move, right?
Right.
So
that's what it is, though. Like, we always talk about that, right?
Yeah, it's not like all of a sudden from this houses are going to be, a $300,000 house is going to be worth $250,000. Hey, you might get might be like a $295,000 once the market kind of opens up a little bit and a lot more people list their homes. I think right now is a good time to sell your home because, the increase in demand and the decrease in supply right now. I mean, those are just simple economics, right? But ultimately, there'll probably be some leveling out when everyone potentially who was going to list waits for the end of this pandemic. But I truly don't think that there's just going to be a day that everything turns on, though. It's not like all of a sudden, like, the whole entire world is like back to what it was, right? Like, this is probably going to linger the better part of a year, until it's like maybe back to normal. I mean, I stood in line at Trader Joe's yesterday, like cattle, waiting to get my throat slit. It was fucked up. And I almost died in my mask. That N95 mask is too thick, man.
Yeah.
Me and Paul had some Mediterranean food, and it near burned. I don't even know if I could call this a mustache on the air here, but it was near gone.
That Mediterranean food probably you're really.
I don't think it really matters what happens in this, as long as you keep that stash, you're gonna be fine, man.
Yeah, it actually protects from COVID. It actually collects COVID molecules
stuck in there.
Yeah. So Kyle, so you mentioned listings right now, right?
Yeah.
Who's listing right now? Why are they listing right now? And is it a good idea to list right now, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I listed a house last week in Royal Oak, right in downtown. This was more of somebody that was moving. They're like, hey, let's just get it up. We did some virtual showings. We've done a tour. Luckily the sellers have a lot of skill with cameras and things like that, so it's been pretty good. I mean, people are listing. I think people are, I think people who want to sell their homes are a little more optimistic that, we're going to come out of this okay, which I think we will. Like Sal said, it's probably going to, I don't think our new normal might be a lot different, but yeah, I mean, people are listening and people are making offers. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I think that, now you're seeing the value of a seller in terms of knowing their home, because a lot of knowledge that they're going to give to a buyer who can't enter their home. And I think that really is advantageous and really helps us out too. And, I think the other thing is people, for whatever, some other, whatever reasons have to move, whether job, whether it's, who knows what's going on. But yeah, there's some people that I've even talked to in the last week and a half that like, hey, whenever we can, May 16th, let's get this thing listed. So I think people are still there. And I think people are kind of educating themselves more, sellers, buyers, about what's going on the market. But yeah, I think that people are still listed, and I think there's still demand. There's still buyers out there. There's still people. There's still people want to buy.
To your point, right? Like, thank God we live in the era of iPhone, FaceTime, VR, right? Like all that stuff, because I couldn't imagine this happening in like, I don't know, like the 80s or 90s, right? Like it's still in a somewhat sophisticated time, but like, what are you going to do, right? Like if you're locked in your house, it's not like you can go, I mean, to download the pictures on 56K internet speed and AOL would take, the house would be pending by the time you saw the pictures.
Right.
Yeah, technology is, I mean, everything's built, I think, for us to be able to handle this. It's just those that utilize or adapt to the new norm. I mean, dude, one thing that we keep talking about, it's either action or inaction, right? And you're either going to take action. And by the way, Brad Wolf is awesome. He asked about your cookie sweeper. I don't know what that means. Yeah, Brad, nice cookie sweeper. So, wow, that's an interesting comment right there. So yeah, I mean, you just need to basically just adapt. And Brad, I think we're trying to do that. You've got an all virtual closing today that we're working on. It isn't without any hiccups, but we're testing it. And I think once we figure it out, I believe there's going to be a need. And I think companies like that are thinking about putting things in place to adjust to like where we are today are going to be better suited, right? Because I think no matter what, people are still going to want to do their closings at home, potentially virtually, and not have to go places. People are going to avoid places just by default nowadays. They're just not going to be as apt to go to a football game or basketball game, right, Brad?
Yeah, everything that you just, I mean, Jesus Christ, you just kept going on and on.
Like your hair keeps going on.
Yeah, I mean, my hair needs to be cut. Thanks. Yeah. I'm in quarantine, whatever. But yeah, I mean, we're testing out the totally virtual closing today, supposedly today. We'll see how it goes, but
yeah,
later this afternoon, and if it goes good, it could be a huge breakthrough for this quarantine. I mean, nobody wants random closing agents to come into their house with papers that they printed at their office that who knows how many other people touched.
Yeah.
So being able to do a virtual closing where nobody comes to your house, you're in front of your computer screen, just like this format, I mean, it could be huge. And I think it's going to be huge, and it's going to change the way we do business in the future. Maybe not immediately, but over time, it's going to become more and more adopted across the industry, I think.
Yeah, and Kyle, you and I were talking about this yesterday, and it's like, how many things can you check off the box to change to the new normal, right? So like closings is one side of it, right? That like being able to do a closing virtually, people will feel more comfortable with that. What other steps do you think from a real estate agent that needs to be figured out to accommodate the new buyers and sellers in today's market, right? Because it is the restrictions and the needs of buyers and sellers on a personal level has changed, right? From contact, from open houses. Talk about that.
Yeah, I think the first thing I thought of when all this went down was open houses and showings. How's this going to look? I think open houses may be a thing of the past coming soon. I think that these virtual, once that like photographers and videographers can work, I think that's going to become more of the norm. Every listing will have one. A virtual tour, which some do. A lot of people do them now, but I think they'll become more, more dominant right now. And going forward,
like a Matterport, like something like that.
Like there's so many different ones you can do.
Right.
I think that, and I still think that what this is going to do to artists, it's going to change how we go about our everyday business. I think that showings are going to be a little different. I think how you give access to a home is going to be a little different. But I think the virtual side of this is going to become pretty heavy instead of the normal. Sunday 11 to 3, come into my house, check it out. Maybe you make an offer, you might like it. Maybe you pick up a client. I think it's when you come more, hey, I'm gonna look at the virtual tour. Then if I like it, I'm gonna schedule a showing. However that's gonna look, and I think that is gonna kind of speed up a little bit there.
Yeah, I think I could see this potentially changing. Like typically, I feel like most brokerages, right, real estate brokerages, the power's in the agent's hand, right? Because the formula has been essentially the same. The technology's been a little bit of a part of it, but it's more or less, hey, this agent under this brokerage has a ton of business or whatever, and they're with their brokerage for more or less the relationship of the splits or whatever it is, right? But now potentially it could be the investment from the broker side that invests in these technologies that could potentially streamline the process and probably thin the herd of the real estate agent side, right? Like, where do you hang your hat? Do you hang it with this like brokerage that's antiquated, right? And you still might be able to do well there, or you hang it with the one that has the best technology and essentially be able to offer your client the way to buy a home in this quote unquote new age, right?
Yeah, I mean, dude, like the reality of where we're at is we gotta evolve. So I mean, it's just where we're at, and the technology's here, dude. That's the crazy part. We all have the technology. What this is doing, we've talked about this before. This is speeding up the evolution of our business and also getting rid. It's like an exfoliation of all the Aunt Tilly's and Uncle Bob's and
billions of dollars in this business, and there's no short supply, right, or demand on our side to make that happen. Essentially, if someone was like, hey, this can happen tomorrow, Quicken Loans would probably spend $1 billion to make it all completely virtual, right?
Yeah.
And be that much further ahead of everyone else. The holdups are in the government side of things, right? Like you aren't able
municipalities, cities, all that shit, right?
IRS, all that bullshit. So essentially, that's what's holding us up, and hopefully this forces the hand.
Why are you laughing, Brad?
All that bullshit.
All that bullshit. All that bullshit.
Government, all that bullshit.
All that
bullshit. You just summed up the back end mortgage process so well. Just all that bullshit.
Yeah. And Kyle, we talked about this yesterday, right? Like, there's gonna be a shedding of like, because look, if you've said this before, and I say it, if like for the loans, like if you're a loan officer, you can fall and trip onto a loan without having to do much work. The market's too saturated with too many LOs that probably aren't proficient in today's world. Kyle, and you can talk to this. I think consumers, especially the ones that qualify now, are going to be higher end, right? So you're not going to spend a lot of time on the lower end stuff because they're just not going to get qualified. And two, people that are serious and they want a serious professional in today's world to be able to navigate it and someone that they can trust. Whereas before, when things were so transactional, moving so fast, and it was really easy to list a house and sell it, and it was really easy to find a house and buy it relatively. That was easy to basically qualify for a mortgage. Now things are going to get tighter, and the population of people that qualify is going to be smaller. And in your opinion, Kyle, what are you going to do to set yourself apart from like the transactional type agents or the agents out there that maybe aren't doing it full time? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, perseverance for sure, especially in this time. But for me, I'll continue to do what I do and how I do. That's not going to change. How I am with my clients, how I treat my clients, what I do for them on a one-on-one basis. But I think, knowledge and, kind of trying to be ahead of what's coming in terms of technology and things like that help. But I think it's just, you're going to have to work a little harder. I don't think it's going to be, you go out and show one person a house, it takes an hour and they're making offers and they're talking to Paul and Sal and Brad and they're getting loans. I really think that people are going to have to adapt, not only how they do business, but how they deal with their clients. And I think that, for me personally, I'm not going to change how I do my business in terms of dealing and every day with my clients and maybe even other agents and loan officers. But, these things aren't just going to fall in your lap. And to sell a home is going to take a lot more time. I think because, with this, going back to what Sal said, who knows when we're going to be back to normal if we ever are. And you cannot rely on just, showing up and going through the process and doing. You got to be able to, adapt, and you have to be able to kind of guide your clients through a different time. And if you're not ready to do that, you're going to lose clients, and you're just going to be, you're be able to grow and move on.
How are you dealing with people's expectations right now? Like, because like some people, like in our, like for instance, Sal, Brad, on our side, everybody thinks rates are super low and everybody can get a mortgage again, right? And it's not. And buyers might be thinking they can sell their house because there's not a lot of demand, or seller or buyers might think to be able to get a better deal. How are you communicating to your clients just, you know, the reality of how fucked up our market is right now?
Yeah. I mean, just for example, the place I listed in Royal Oak, great house, solid, great, whatever. And I told them, I said, I want to tell you guys, we're going to get offers and we're going to sell this thing in a week, because usually we probably would, because it's that kind of house, location, and
right.
quality. But I said, I have no idea how this is going to go, but I'm going to tell you guys this now. Be ready for probably a little longer of a process, because buyers still want to set their eyes on these homes, regardless if it's if they have to wait. People want to walk into the home and see it, feel it.
Ultimately, they do want to walk in the home, but I think what's going to change is you're not going to walk into 100 houses anymore.
No, it's going to be
the one or two or three, right? That's it.
Yeah, and it's almost like this is going to be a different process than it was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
You know, or this time last year, you put this house up, we get 6 offers, you're picking the best one, and we're moving on. This is wow. And I told them, I said, you know, I only want to see serious buyers. I want pre-approvals. You know, if somebody wants to make an offer, I want to make sure they're approved, but I also want to make sure that they're not just floating something out there. You know. Yeah.
So talk about that. So like, we've always taken a lot of pride, Sal, Brad, on our pre-approvals, right? Like making sure they're airtight. That if we pre-approve someone, that piece of paper that we give them actually means something when it comes from Omega. That isn't always the case, because you have pre-qualifications where people just get their credit pulled. You got people doing pre-approvals and not getting income statements. You got people doing pre-approvals and not getting assets. So in today's market, in your opinion, that approval, how important is it? And are there places that you've gotten approvals from in the past that fell through that you, in your mind, have, if that approval is next to another one that you know, like, does one carry more weight even if the other one's a little bit higher, but you know that lender might be all kind of fucked up? But I mean, what's the mentality from a listing agent on that point?
Yeah, no, I think that you know, lender pre-approvals are going to be way more key to this whole process. I mean, people need them, but how into them are they? Like you said, I mean, a verbal, I make this much money and here you go, here's my credit,
right,
and you get it. No, I think it becomes the pre-approval value and the value of the lender becomes even more important, because in today, you want to know that if these people are making offers, we're going to go through this process. You want to make sure that this is going to get to closing, and you know, you're only as strong as your lender. And if people are writing pre-approvals that, you know, haven't really been pre-approved, which I found out a few times last year. I mean, I got a couple from a couple different banks, and we get to 15 days into it, and I'm getting phone calls, and it's frustrating. And I think now going forward here, I think guys like you, companies like yours, I mean, it's going to have guys like you doing it, because you don't want to pause this process for not only your client but the seller as well. You want to get through it, and I think that full pre-approvals is what we need going forward. And I think that I don't think you guys are gonna be able to write any. I mean, not like you guys would, but I don't think people are gonna be able to write any ones that aren't really true to word, because the people aren't going to qualify.
Well, I think a big thing is right now, I mean, things have changed so rapidly, and they're still changing, right? As more people get laid off, or as we're coming back into the market, potentially from a stronger employment side, I mean, guidelines are going to loosen, guidelines are going to tighten, things are going to change. There'll probably be some permanent changes that, hey, I know I pre-approved you in February or early March, but now you're serious, it's July, and for whatever reason, you're not approved anymore, right? So I think it's important that we communicate from your side, from our side, that like, hey, we need to probably check up on this more than normal, right? Like typically we'd write a pre-approval, hey, as long as nothing changes in 90 days, you're good. Well,
right.
A lot has changed in the past 90 days, right? So it's something to keep in mind and probably check up on a lot more. And also as an agent, I feel like you need to have a lot of options, right? If you had someone with a Chase pre-approval with a putting 5% down and a 699 credit score, they don't qualify, right? So someone, as an agent, you might need to have like, hey, I know these guys can do anything, right? I got my 8 credit guy. I got the guy who does the dumpster loans. It's like have options for your clients, because at the end of the day, they need to be taken care of. And as long as you can point them in the right direction, just like you do with an inspector, right? Title company, people you trust, I think you're going to have success as an agent.
It's hard enough to get people pre-qualified properly when the environment is normal. Like right now, where the actual like qualifications from a lender standpoint are changing. So think about, Sal, you brought up Chase. Overnight, they're like, fuck it, we're not doing anything below 700. Nuh-uh, no way. Wells Fargo, stop doing refinances. They're like, we're not touching refinances. Some of the jumbo loans disappeared overnight. This forbearance issue, there's gonna be people that go out of business because of it, because they can't afford the bleed. We're at 7% forbearance, and which a lot of people don't understand how that's affecting the mortgage market. But because of forbearance, it's actually keeping prices higher, and the danger of actually borrowing is going higher. FHA is the only one that has a FHA government loans. Their forbearance rules are much different than Fannie and Freddie's, which is really fucked up, because Fannie and Freddie have a ton of money. The GSEs have a ton of money, and they're making the servicers pay for it. So we're seeing a very, very dynamic, fluid landscape that's changing on a day-to-day basis. So pre-approvals are gonna be paramount. And I don't think, and I don't know, this is my opinion, banks are great at doing a lot of things, but a lot of times they don't want to even be in the like Chase. If they didn't have to be in the mortgage market, they wouldn't even be in it, because Diamond has already said that a million times. So what I'm saying is finding the right partners. Like if you're buying a house right now, Kyle, how important is it to choose the right team, choose the right lender, choose the right agent, choose the right title company, choose the right inspector, especially in times like this where things are so fucking up in the air. Like you need a pro in today's world.
Yeah, no, that's always the case, but I think, I'm going to use my dad's friend. It's like, well, where does he work? Like what, you have to have, and I think I know the people that I use, especially, lenders are lenders, buyers have people they know, and that's fine. I always try and recommend people, even like you said, even with inspectors and title companies and things like this. Process is going to become look different. And if you don't have the right people behind you, you're not going to get the house you want.
So how do you suggest a consumer finds it? You know what I mean? Like, what are they looking for? What should they be on the lookout for? Like that makes them suspicious. What are some things that agents say to buyers or sellers that you feel would raise a red flag, right? Because let's say I get referred to my Uncle Bob, and people say, "Oh, Uncle Bob's great." Uncle Bob comes over and he says X, Y, and Z to me, right?
Right.
What are some red flags that people can look out for in our industry? Where they can say, fuck that, I'm not working with that guy, or hey, that sounds really kind of weird, or hey, he knows what he's talking about, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you this: look out, or even as an agent, looking out for somebody who gets let's say gets a loan for $750,000 with 5% down. That kind of stuff freaks me out. I did that. If you're buying that kind of house, you want to be working with somebody that handles those things. But yeah, I think it's got to be someone you're comfortable with, but it also has to be with their performance. How many loans have they closed? What have they done? Sometimes lenders, like you guys can do, you've had similar situations for someone. I do this. I'm a 1099. I do that. You guys, as lenders, see a lot. And I think that, for a guy like me, if someone comes to me and let's say they're like me, they're an independent contractor. They work on their own. They work for their own business. They make they make X amount. I think that if you've dealt with a lender that's dealt with people like that, I think that's good. Who's been in your situation and who have they dealt with?
Yeah, and Brad,
people gotta lean on their agents.
And also, I think social proof and reviews. I think how big are reviews in today's world, Sal? I mean, how many things on Amazon do you not buy because the reviews were 4.5 stars, but like 5 of them were like, hey, this shit was terrible. And then also you have some reviews and it's got 4.5 stars, and the people that are bitching are like, oh, the packaging was crinkled, right? Like you've got to kind of look through the lines too on the reviews. But I mean, aren't reviews or social proof of who you're working with or experience, any of that, isn't that really important right now, Sal? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. It depends though. I mean, it's, you look at Amazon, I'm not going to die if I buy a toothbrush that didn't work out for me, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but I'll spend like 45 minutes finding the right one because I'm reading all the reviews, right?
I'll just buy the both and
That's because you don't have enough
throw
stuff
one
to
away.
do.
You know?
Oh yeah, really? Not enough stuff to do? Really? That's how it works?
If it's a toothbrush, so like,
Fuck you.
know, but to argue, and Paul, you could probably buy another toothbrush, but
You can fucking buy a hairbrush, fucker.
The thing with the reviews on a lender, right? I mean, you only really get one shot. It's not like all of a sudden, like, I mean, yeah, of course you can refi or whatever down the road, right? But like, you're going to potentially buy this house, and it's not like halfway through you get to change it, or, it's cheap enough where, well, that didn't work out well, we'll just buy another one, right? So I think validating and doing the reviews is one thing, but I think also talk to a friend or a family member who's actually used them too, someone you can trust. I mean, this business is all about trust, right? Yeah. And if you trust, just like I trust that, when I get a deal referred to me from someone, like I trust that they're going to do everything that they need to do on their end so I can do my job too, right? It has to be a tight relationship where everyone trusts each other for everything to go smooth.
Yeah. So, like, other than, do you have like a bearskin rug under that fireplace behind you? And like, I feel like you like.
Oh, this is my. So in my house, I have about 20 feet that belongs to me. Other than that, I got nothing.
You're in the 20 feet that belong to you. That wall is really all you got right here.
There's a bar right here. I got the TV fireplace.
How much are you drinking right now during the quarantine? Are you drinking a lot? I'm drinking a ton.
A lot of water. It's
your skin tone says something different.
No, literally 3:34 o'clock. I'm just like, okay, what day is it? Is it Monday? Is it Tuesday?
Yeah,
let's do it. It's the boredom just kicks in.
Dude, it's like the weirdest version of Groundhog's Day, dude. It's like the day goes by so fast.
Yeah, it's a shitty movie.
Somebody was telling us that because there's lack of human interaction, that our minds become fast forwarding the day, and like you're basically like moving through the day much faster. And it does seem like I get up and go to sleep, and before I know it, I'm back up again doing the same fucking thing over and over again.
Dude, the weeks are flying by.
Yeah,
dude.
We just keep getting extended. It's just like, oh, okay, we're almost okay. 2 more weeks.
I mean, I think everyone can agree it was kind of nice at the beginning, right? Like in a time where we're like, at least in our business, we're on call essentially, right? Like I guess the calls still didn't stop. Probably got more at the beginning, right? Oh, I heard rates are 0%.
No, they're not.
But
no, they're not.
But then it kind of got a little slow, and now people are like getting anxious, right? Like we have an office that everyone does the proper precautions or whatever, but we can go to, right? And sometimes
we're essential, baby.
Yeah, people. An agent came over and was like, "Hey, what's up?" They're dropping off some docs, and it was like, "Wow, I haven't left my house in 2 weeks."
Yeah,
literally haven't left my house in 2 weeks. It's like,
Shafter looked like he came out of a hole, like he crawled out of a hole somewhere. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm here to drop some stuff." I'm like, "Shafter, you don't look good, man."
You ever see the movie Into the Wild where the guy passed away in the bus in the end?
Yeah,
that's like a lot of people right now. Just
how many movies are they going to make about this whole thing? Like the crisis of 2020.
I don't know. It's kind of boring. It's not like, I mean, okay, I don't want to say that.
No,
for us, it's boring, bro. But there's a lot of shit happening.
I mean, they might make a movie where they're inside the hospital or something, but the rest of it's kind of like wear a mask and go to the grocery store and watch movies and try to be the best you can at Call of Duty.
Yeah. What do you think the future of real estate? I mean, do you think I'm going to tell you obviously you tell me your opinion. What do you think is the health of the real estate industry right now? And do you think that the job loss and all that stuff is going to cause a longer term issue in our business? Or do you think that potentially there's still going to be pretty healthy demand for homes coming out of this?
I think there'll still be some demand. I think that you'll probably see, there's going to be a lull. I mean, there is now, but it's, I think once we come out and like even real estate agents can become essential, which would, hopefully that comes soon. I think that you're going to see a lull in production. I think there are buyers out there. I think there's, it'll be because of where the rates are. I think that's help buyers who can get qualified. But I think that it's going to be kind of I think you'll probably do a field out process for 2 months. But there's still buyers that'll be ready to buy and are still have their job and still qualify. I think in the higher end market, you're probably going to see. I think that's going to be tougher.
It's funny.
I think that's scary.
It's funny. The unemployment thing's gonna be weird because, like, I'll give you an example. Right, I was talking to an agent the other day, or I forget who it was, and he's like, "Dude, I can't get." He runs a broker. He's like, "Some of my people don't want to come back to work because they're making 4 Gs a month from unemployment. Right, that's more than they were making as some of them as agents. Right, and they're like, oh, fuck it, I'm not gonna go back to work right now. Right, I'm just gonna feed off the system and feed off the teat of the government. Right." And that's not the only industry that's happening to. I'll give you an example. My wife, she's getting unemployment. She's 1099. She's in education, and she doesn't usually work through the summer, but she's going to get paid through the summer. I know it sounds crazy, but she is going to get paid. She got back pay, and she potentially doesn't have a lot of motivation to go back to work because she's between that and childcare. It's like we're really making. I mean, she was making $70K a year, but now it's like, well, I'll make 50 and be okay with. You know what I mean?
She wants to go back to work. She wants to get away from your face.
She wants to get the fuck out of my house. She wants to get away from the family. She hates me. I'm worried about my children's well-being because she might just snap and put them in the oven, but I don't know.
You know what, though? It doesn't fucking matter what people want to do. People need to go back to work.
They need to, yeah.
And eventually they'll get that rug pulled out from under them. And, if they took advantage of the system, like a real estate agent who was getting paid, I mean, if they were collecting unemployment and potentially not working, I mean, they'll feel it. Right. Oh, yeah. The well's going to dry up and they're going to be, feeling really fucking stupid. So,
but those people won't last in the first place. If they're thinking that way, that they're going to live off the unemployment, then they aren't really that driven.
People can go back to work, though. I mean, I think that the whole, unemployment thing, it's kind of like, hey, it is what it is. Everything is what it is for the next few months. Right. Yeah. But once things kind of resume and people are needed to be at work, I think it's just going to be a different story.
I do think there's going to be I think there's going to be a lot of job loss. I don't think hospitality goes back for any time soon, dude. I don't think people are going to a crowded bar. I don't think people are going to go sit at a restaurant with a bunch of other people for a little bit. So that industry is going to forever be changed.
I don't know, man. I bet on the day that the bars are allowed to open, they're going to be blown up.
You think so? You think the Rock's going to be jam-packed because
don't care? Not that they don't care.
So many people don't care.
Worried about this. Aren't worried about
so many
getting sick. I mean,
there's a lot of people.
I'll be at the bar on the day it opens up. Not that I'm not worried about getting sick, but I'll take my chances.
Right? I think alcohol more than you want to live.
I'm just saying. I mean, now, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people on airplanes, right? The hotels may not be here.
But it's going to get affected, Sal. I mean, it's not going to be 100% like it used to be, right? They are going to get affected. There's going to be a big population that don't.
And then it will kind of slow down again. I don't know, but people are itching to do stuff.
I guess, I agree with you. But my point is, I think working from home, I know I can work from home more efficiently now. And I think a lot of people probably have figured that out. Not everybody, but I've been able to figure it out, right? At my office, I think people are going to work from home more than they used to. They probably don't. These big, huge offices, we might not see those. What I'm wondering is what industries, because I think there's a push and pull. We're going to lose a lot of business on one side of it, but there's going to be industries that blow up. Like Amazon needs people, right? Zoom is doing great. Virtual connections are doing well. So in your opinion, what do you guys see any industries that are poised to get really some growth? Like Brad, for instance, for us right now, we're doing a virtual closing. That company whatever it was that we're using, Notarize, right? Yeah. They're probably getting a lot of requests, and that's probably why they're so slow and clunky, is because they're like, what the fuck? We weren't prepared for this, whatever it is, right? But they're probably going to see growth. So there are going to be sectors of our country that need employees, right? Yeah. So I'm curious to what you guys see any cracks out there that you think that, okay, we might lose from here, but there's a lot of business here. And I think the faster people kind of give up on being a bartender for right now and kind of find a different industry might make sense.
Yeah. My sister-in-law's in video conferencing, not like Zoom, but similar.
Okay.
She's slammed.
Killing it.
My wife's company, she's in marketing, but she works for a financial consulting firm, and they deal with distressed companies. So they're hiring people.
Headhunters.
Yeah. Headhunters. But I think the bar restaurant industry, when it opens, is going to look a lot different. I think there's going to be. I was thinking the other day, my favorite place is Mount Chalet, and I think their capacity is 100. I bet.
Love the Chalet.
The Chalet's the best. I bet I'm going to see, no more than 40 people at a time in there. Spread out.
They might have ordinances that they can't have more than.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think
there's a piece of plexiglass between the bar stools, right?
Yes, I think.
I think people always got to eat. People always, but they don't have to drink, but they will, right? So,
alcohol sales are through the roof.
Eventually, bars and restaurants, even if a majority of them get wiped out through this, new ones will open, right? So that's an industry long term. Eventually, those things will be lifted, but permanently going forward, right? The ability for, let's say, a large company to hire people who don't have to come into a corporate office, I think that creates a lot of opportunity. Like, hey, you work for GM, typically you move to Detroit, right? Unless they have a center elsewhere. Well, now they might, should they start allowing people to work from home completely, they're pulling talent from everywhere. You might live in Europe and be able to work at GM, right? You just have to adjust your at-home schedule, and they might be able to get the best designers or engineers. So it's something that I think that opportunity and people who are building infrastructure around being able to work at home, right? Like companies who are investing into like servers and workstations and other platforms. I think those are going to be the ones that really take off after everything settles, and then everything else is kind of like, it eventually will just get antiquated,
Yeah. So,
it's not like you can build a car remotely, right?
Yeah, Desmond, what's the alcohol of choice that you? I know you like tequila, right? Have you been drinking a lot of tequila?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That hasn't changed. That won't.
Yeah.
Change. That won't. Now I'm just trying a bunch of different ones.
Okay. You're broadening your horizons.
Yeah, going through the gauntlet. Actually, the one I had the other day that was good. My brother actually dropped it off for me. Is like Terramana, which is The Rock, is behind.
Oh, like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Yeah, like Dwayne Johnson, The Rock. Yeah.
Got it. Does it have 0 calories and like is it infused with steroids?
Yeah, exactly. But that was good. But yeah, I've been trying. I call Keiko's at 14 and Woodward. And that place is awesome because you can call, pay, and you pull up, you back up to the door, open your trunk, they pop it in, you leave. So
yeah, Friar Tuck. You've been drinking a lot of wine,
man.
A lot of wine.
I think your hair looks good, man. You're fine.
Yeah.
Wine and Angel's Envy.
Angel's Envy is good. The Angel's Envy rye is amazing. So yeah, I've been drinking a lot of bourbon myself. So, listen, Desmond, thank you for being on the show. I want to do the 3 questions with you, and then I'll let everybody. I want you to let everybody know they can get a hold of you. So, anybody got any questions on the top of their head right now? Brad, Sal, Friar Tuck.
Man, if you could live one place in the United States, where would you want to live?
Other than Michigan.
Right here.
Other than Michigan. Arizona.
Why?
Warm, golf.
Yeah, but it's so hot, bro. You ever been out there in the summer? It's like it might as well be the most.
I'll get a house with a pool. It'll be fine.
Everybody's like, it's a dry heat. Yeah, put yourself in the oven and see what happens. It's still heat, bro. You know what I mean? A dry heat. Oh, it's dry heat. Fuck off. It's 120. You can. Yeah. I remember being in Arizona and the bottom of my shoes started melting to the ground. That's how fucking hot it was. And I had cheap shoes on at the time. I think they were Aldos or something.
Yeah, those Wish.com boys.
Yeah. So, if you could be one of the 3 of us, who would it be and why?
What?
Yeah.
I'd probably go Sal, just because he has a mustache, kind of. So
you like that he has.
I don't want to change it up too much. I mean,
I feel like you and Sal are on par with facial hair and also liver performance.
Yeah. Probably true.
Yeah. Jaundice is really running heavy on both of you.
It's just the lighting. It's just the lighting.
Yeah, it's the list. The fire back.
He's spoken though, so
he has spoken. Sal goes, he has spoken. He is. You have been chosen. If you could, let's see here. Let's see the next question I want to ask you. If you could, get rid of one process in the home purchase process? Like if you could eliminate or make something transition easier, whether it's title, whether it's showing homes, what part of the process would you get rid of and why?
Open houses.
Well, they're done. So congratulations.
They're done. I'm actually happy about that.
Why open houses? And I'll give you my opinion, but yeah,
I think it's because it's been around for so long. That's what you did. That people, a lot of sellers want to do them, and that's fine. But most of the time, you're getting neighbors, you're getting people that are just kind of walking,
kicking the tires, right?
Or are just their Sunday is going to open houses. When you're like an agent, you're trying to sell a house, and they come in like, oh, we're just here to look. Like, okay, it just becomes kind of a 2-3 hour thing on a Sunday when I'd rather be on the phone or with an actual client or with my kids. So
selling, and we've said this before, and I believe this whole. I think open houses are dumb. I just don't. Every single open house that I've ever sat in with an agent, like I brought, I'm excited, I'm young, I'm hungry, I want to meet the agent, I want to get business, I want to help people buy a house, and you realize very quickly that these people are not serious, and there's not. You might sell the house, but you might probably were to sell the house without the open house.
I did one time. I did like a giveaway. I had food, this whole thing. Like,
yeah,
agents showed up. Like, people that I knew. And I was like, "Oh, we're done."
You're bringing the Jimmy Johns back to the house and throwing it at the dog.
I'm giving away a TV. You've got like 500 people there just for the
TV. I thought about that too.
I'm surprised you didn't say the lending process. That would have been my answer.
I'll say that or sewer line inspection. I've had bad luck lately.
Yeah. Hey Sal, if you could be one of the other two co-hosts, which one would it be and why?
I'd be Brad.
Fuck you. Why would you be Brad? Because Brad is
because I'm happier and not an asshole.
I'm a happy asshole. I'm a very happy
asshole. And then what's that? We should just film you and kind of strap you in a chair and just have you watch yourself for 12 hours. You go.
I watch myself all the time. I'm super narcissistic.
Super narcissistic.
Man.
Oh man. Open houses are for nosy Nellies and hungry bellies. Wow, Laura Westrom. That's nice. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Nosy Nellies and hungry bellies.
Yeah.
Which is true, dude.
It's super true. One thing I think would be good. I think
the thing that sucks about open houses too is they're on Saturdays, right? So
Saturdays, Sundays,
depending on where you are in your life, like you wake up so hungover, you go put on an open house, and you're just like sitting there clicking your fingers on the table, like, when's this over?
Yeah.
One thing that would be cool for open houses, I think, a lot of people watch those real estate shows where they do these open houses and they follow the people around and get the reactions to the house and stuff.
Just do a virtual one, yeah.
Well, to do it one open house on a property and have a camera crew follow the people around to get the reactions and then post that with your listing so people can. It's like a little mini episode of Love It or Listed.
See, now you're thinking
you know what they should do? They should do an episode of Cribs with the owner.
Right. Yeah, what else is my crib? Let me show you my car.
If I was ever an agent, that's what I would do.
All right. Well, maybe I'm going to start doing that.
Cribs, like. What
do they love about their house? Yeah,
have them wearing like a robe and slippers and.
Yeah. You should be like, what was that guy with the accent? Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. What was that guy's name?
Oh man.
Whatever. It doesn't matter.
I don't know.
We're just aging ourselves up. We're talking about Dallas too, and Dynasty and all that stuff. So, I used to watch Dallas with my mom. Who Shot JR? Does anybody know what I'm talking about out there? Please tell me.
Clue.
I
do. I'm old.
What about Falcon's Crest? Does anybody remember Falcon's Crest?
I remember that one too.
My mom used to watch all those. They were amazing shows.
My mom watched Dynasty a lot.
Dynasty was good. Yeah, Dynasty with that one chick. Yeah. Yep. For all of you that want to see bad television, go check these out. So that's it, man. What do we got here? I had a virtual tour done. The agent forgot to send me the basement. Oh, okay. What was wrong with the basement? Sylvia?
Hopefully.
Sorry, Skylar. Do you want to tell us what's wrong with it? What was wrong? Was there something wrong with the basement, or you just wanted to see the basement and you didn't see it? Yeah. Let us know. We've got another minute before we go. So, Kyle, tell the audience how they can get a hold of you, man. If they want a really top-notch agent who knows what they're doing, who's got an amazing mustache, who's not allowed near elementary schools.
Go to my website, kyledesmond.com. All my contact information is on there.
You own your own website, dude?
Yeah.
Robin, thank you, Laura.
Oh, Laura, I knew that. Yeah, my KyleDesmond.com, my website, and then also
Got it, Skyler.
find me on Hall Hunter Realtors website as well, on Facebook and Instagram, and maybe I'll start sending out.
Do you have a TikTok?
No. I think my wife does, but
can you make a TikTok for us and we'll play it on air next time?
Yeah, I'll be on top. It'll just be me and my mustache.
That's it. That's all. I just want to see a TikTok with music playing and your mustache dancing.
There you go.
All right. Listen, Kyle, I appreciate you more than you know, man. I appreciate you reaching out to us. I appreciate you being such just a good dude to talk to. So God bless you, dude.
Yeah.
Do not shave that mustache unless you let us know, because maybe we'll do it on air.
Yeah.
Also, Kyle's website is in the comments below.
Thank you, Natalie. Last week, I just want everybody to know, Natalie is a producer of the show. She is my little cousin. She's 19. We're very close. Last week, people thought I was yelling at her, but it's just the way I talk to her. So
I love respect women at all.
Yeah. Thank you, Natalie, for all your hard work. Thank you, Kyle. Boys, have a wonderful day in quarantine. We will see you on the other side. Love you all. See you next week.
All right. Later, guys.
Bye, guys.